Well, this is what makes the Dallas Cowboys the most popular team. You know, if you really look at the Cowboys in terms of popularity, I mean, I can tell you why they're worth $9 billion. The valuation would be $9 billion. You know, that goes into skybox sales and signage and, all that stuff. But this is why they're the most popular team, good ways and bad ways. They're always must see. It took less than a week for your Dallas Cowboys to implode publicly. And in less than a week, they implode publicly in the most Dallas Cowboys kind of way. Right? Only the soap opera that is the Dallas Cowboys could have this kind of ridiculous ninth grade-like implosion. The public implosion, it really isn't all that surprising. I mean, we live in a time where players have access to social media, they vent, everybody does. I do like to remind people that social media as noise, it usually sounds bigger than it really is. But when it involves superstars, of course it's going to be a big deal. Of course it's going to be newsworthy. So the fact that they have this public social media implosion isn't all that surprising. It's really not. I mean, things ended horribly, and you would assume there would be a certain amount of finger pointing. It just, they, as you know, they were completely rolled. So that's not that surprising. What is surprising, I think, is how it went down, how it is playing out. That part is so Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is at fault here. Yeah, I know it's going to be weird and twisted. I know when in doubt, blame the old man. He's disappeared pretty much. But this is Jerry Jones' fault. And it's not his fault. Hear me out on this. It's not his fault because his star players and their families, which is a new twist, are treating his franchise quarterback and top assistant terribly, trashing them. I mean, that's not Jones's fault. I mean, he can't, I don't think he really can. I don't even think he would try, but they could certainly say it to him. If there's anybody in the executive position in any field that can't say, you know what, you probably should shut up now, it's Jerry Jones. He can't tell anyone to shut up. So, yes, you're right. It would be sensible advice to say, hey, guys, for the next couple of weeks, let's just lay off. Be careful. When in doubt, if you think you're going to send a tweet, you're going to make a post, don't. He can't say that because, well, look at him. He's a mess. But here's why it's his fault. Telling those guys to stop, even if you wanted to, you can't. You don't fire some guy in the NFL because he's popping off on social media. It's his fault because he didn't change things. Okay? See, that's his fault, is that he sent the signal. I know it's crazy to say, man, you really need to fire your coach, but you needed to fire your coach because your franchise needed a signal. And I think this is a perfect example of the missed opportunity to say, hey, everybody, this is not okay. Because you've sent the signal that it is okay. It is tolerable. You're not that bent out of shape. And so naturally, my opinion, the players, and somehow in a weird way, their families, are frustrated for pretty good reason. And so they're just now going after each other. So I think had he whacked his coach immediately and sent the signal, anybody else underachieves around here, you're gone too, I think it probably would have minimized some of this. You can't minimize all of it because, they're the Cowboys and they're a public dumpster fire. He didn't do that, right? He didn't send the signal. And so now the stars are blaming each other in the worst kind of Cowboys kind of way. Here you go. The whole families are involved now. This is from the New York Post. CeeDee Lamb's mom. That's good. It's always a great day when your mom starts going after your quarterback. CeeDee Lamb's mom appears to go scorched earth on Cowboy star QB. She did. This is what the Post writes today. After a third straight season with an early playoff exit, it appears there is a bit of infighting among those near and dear to some Cowboys stars. CeeDee Lamb's mother, Lita Ramirez, appeared to take to Facebook to shade the Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott in the fallout of Dallas's disappointing 48-32 wild card loss to the Green Bay Packers. She posted, "Dak isn't it." 3 exclamation points. Dak isn't it. This is his mom. Dak isn't it. They need to get rid of Dak's ass. It's guys on that team that want a ring. They work too hard. Dak don't want a ring. Get rid of his ass. She then went on to write, "Blank, I wish he would." Somebody replied, apparently posted, it's everyone's reposting, and then she's responding, of course. It's a full-on train wreck. That's my favorite part, is they need to get rid of Dak's ass. She says, "I wish he would," because somebody said he needs to go to Houston. This is what his mom's posting now. "I wish he would." CeeDee Lamb is from Houston. And she says, "I want him to come home to the home team." That's Houston. Which I can tell you what I think of that. I don't think that's a terrible idea, by the way. But, okay, so there we got CeeDee Lamb's mom saying get rid of Dak's ass. Next up, Dak Prescott's brother. Why not? It's a good idea. Tad Prescott is his name. Dak's brother lashed out at Cowboys fans on X. That's going to end well every time. You know it? Every time that's going to end well when you attack the fans. Great strategy there, Tad. I'm sure your brother's really thrilled right now. He goes, "Cowboys fans, why continue to DM me? Trust me, if I could get Dak to leave Dallas in a heartbeat, I would. I want him out of here. I want him out of Dallas. The city and organization have been great to he and our family, but I'm done with the drama and all of you so-called fans. He loves the team and wants to bring rings, but we need to get out." Okay. That's helpful, too. Right about the time they're going to give him a contract extension, which is a whole discussion by itself. There are options there. You can take your pick, but it needs to be done. A decision needs to be made pretty soon. So his brother goes in and says, I want him out. You guys treat him like trash. And then, not to be outdone, because this guy won't shut up, Micah Parsons decided, and so I guess Micah Parsons' brother too, or his dad, I'm not sure which one. He decided to go to social media to rip Dan Quinn, who was the defensive coordinator, who might be a head coach somewhere else, any minute now. So he decided to go in and start ripping on him, saying that they didn't use Micah Parsons correctly. He blamed Dan Quinn and said the defensive coordinator, who is, by the way, likely leaving to be a coach somewhere else, which I think is kind of interesting. They don't know how to use him. It's a waste of Micah Parsons' talent, that kind of stuff. So all the families are in, and don't worry, they're all going to come back at each other. They're going to come back at each other. And Micah Parsons will probably do it too. The real blame, by the way, for the flameout is not Dak Prescott. I know that's easy and fun to do. The real blame is for the Dallas breakdown was their defense. They were trash on defense against Green Bay. They were trash on defense in the games they lost this year. Dallas didn't lose in close games. They just got blown out. Like, if you go back and look, they just weren't even on the field. If it got away from them at all, that's it. It's full-on meltdown. The Green Bay game was like that. The score is not at all. That game was 48-16 at the start of the fourth quarter. So they just get run off the field when they start losing, and that's because their defense is trash in those losses, and that includes Micah Parsons, who had all of 2 tackles in their loss. Okay, so now we can count on much of the offseason being the Cowboys trashing each other, their coach. I'm sure the owner will get it before long. Family members, the whole deal. How to handle this? First, it's great for my business. The circus that is the Dallas Cowboys is always good for my business, and I thought it might take a little longer for them to start to implode, but sure enough, within a week it's happening. So that's good for me. It's good in the talk show business. They're the best and going to continue to be the best reality show in sports, so it's not going to stop. What is unfortunate in my business is that Dak Prescott is not more like Aaron Rodgers. If we could just stick in a nutcase of a quarterback in Dallas, it would really be on. But Dak Prescott is the anti-Aaron Rodgers in every way. He keeps his mouth shut. He's the corporate man. But we really need him to go off at some point. That'll add to the circus. The options are this. I mean, just in terms of, what they can do aside from all the craziness on social media. They could deal Dak Prescott, and there's stories that are going to be talked about. I think they're going to end up signing him to an extension. I think Dak Prescott will finish his career in Dallas, and he's going to be playing on a terrible team. Because over time, they're going to get worse, a lot worse. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly, too. That's not his fault. So I think Jerry Jones is married to him, and he thinks that Mike McCarthy is married to Dak Prescott, too. It's like a package deal. And so I think he's going to go all in on Dak Prescott and give him an extension. And that's it. That's the quarterback for the foreseeable future. If you don't want to do that, or you have an opinion you shouldn't do that, he has a no-trade clause. You could go to him and say, hey, look, man, CeeDee Lamb's mom wants you out. Would you take a deal? Because you can't just trade him without his permission. So he would have to go for it. But if you were to do that, you are blowing it up and starting over, or you think somewhere on that roster is your current quarterback. I don't know. I don't think they'll do that. Do I think it's a good idea? No, probably not in the shortest term. I think Dallas has a 1-year window left, maybe, and that's if they're lucky. 2 years, no. 3 years, the window slams shut. So, I don't know how you keep him for another year. I don't think they can. I think they're going to have to sign him to an extension. What happened this year is not his fault. He's going to finish second in the MVP race. So, Team CeeDee Lamb, Mom, and everybody else who's flipping out, first of all, you need to shut up. Well, no, you're not going to shut up. Just stop. The guy had an amazing year. If anyone shouldn't be complaining about the season they had with Dak Prescott, that would be CeeDee Lamb. The guy caught, 120 passes or something like that? I mean, the guy was, he was his go-to the point that it was kind of dangerous. What else, Team CeeDee Lamb, is Dak Prescott supposed to do? If there's a strategy to Team CeeDee Lamb and his mom trying to get him out of Dallas into Houston, which I think is kind of interesting, and I think Houston all of a sudden becomes a little bit sexier of a team, I can see why he'd like to go to Houston. I do. He's going to have to get paid by Jerry Jones, and he probably has figured out, I don't know if his mom has either, he's probably figured out exactly what I've just said. That window is small. That window is closing. The Houston window is wide open. The future of Houston with their quarterback is promising. So if this is their way to talk enough trash, make everyone angry enough, start enough fights that he ends up in Houston, I kind of get it. The Texans need to go get C.J. Stroud some help. They've got the money to do it, and they would pay CeeDee Lamb, and it would be a great choice. So there could be a strategy to this. I doubt it, but there could be. And it makes some sense. Because you can't blame him at all for wanting to end up in Houston for the rest of his career. The Texans need him, but his mom nor anyone else can say he wasn't used properly in Dallas. He was used all the time. He's the second most important offensive player on that team. So Jerry Jones needed to fire Mike McCarthy to send a clear message that he expected more. He needed to send the signal that things are good. You can't send the signal that things are good when you don't make the playoffs. You can't send that. You retain people, that's what it looks like. And that's exactly what started the social media freakout. Those guys are frustrated for good reason. They want to go deeper in the playoffs for good reason. And all of a sudden, they don't know what else to do. They blew it. And the signal sent is, hey, maybe next time. Everyone knows what's happening with the franchise isn't working. The players know what is happening with that franchise isn't working. It's not good enough. They know that. I think that's why they're going crazy. But can you imagine? I mean, this is the first week and the families have gone crazy. Can you imagine the rest of the offseason if this is week one?